Every session, students ask me, what is the best order of questions in APM? And I know the answer. And I strongly advise you to do this way and not any other way. Okay, so what do we have? We have one question that is a 50-mark question, and it comes from section A. And we have two 25-mark B questions. I would suggest that you open your exam, start your exam, and quickly glance through the requirements, not the scenario, just requirements of questions B. Then choose one question that seems to be the easiest to you. Okay, you do not really like the topic environmental management accounting, and the first of these B questions is on that. Okay, skip it, go to the other one. You love calculating EVA, and you see that EVA is question 2. Okay, start with question 2. And as you have already identified that this question is the easiest for you, you need to put as much effort to this question as you can. So if you divide the time that is allowed in your exam, you will see that you have 3 hours and 15 minutes, meaning that you will have something like 45 minutes for each of questions B, and then you have an hour and a half for question A, and you have 15 extra minutes. So what I would suggest to invest more time in question B. So you can spend 50, 60, you can spend even up to 80 minutes on the easiest of questions B. Although, if you have not had enough practice, so you do not really know how slowly you get in the end, how much time you have left, and so on, so just limit yourself to 50, 60 minutes on question B and try to squeeze as much out of it as possible. Then, when an hour has passed, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you have finished or not, whether you have a sort or not. Leave it, go to the next question. If your thoughts were so much relevant, if your thoughts were so good as you think they are, you would have answered to question B by the time. You have not to. This means that we need to limit our effort there. So go to question A. Why do we do like that? Well, regardless of how much practice a student has, if they start with question A, they always see it badly. So they realize that it has been 2 hours and 20 minutes and they have not finished question A yet, and they start panicking. We do not want that to happen. Also, question A is a very lengthy one, and we do not want to start with loading your brain with that. Besides, when you're going to type, your fingers will eventually get tired because you do not do that at your work that often. So you, for example, typed an email, sent an email, reading again, reading another one, made something in Excel, started looking what is there in the formula, your fingers have some rest. But when you come to the exam, you're supposed to type 3 hours and 15 minutes straight. So you need your fingers to have some rest, some finger exercise. Another thing is that your brain is going to be tired. And with question A, it's easier because the first part of question A is pretty typical. You will need to evaluate some sort of report, most like 80% of times. So you will just get some rest while reading the scenario, while writing your answer to the first part of question A. You will get some confidence because you will write something that you already know, and we will discuss all of the tricks that you need to follow in part A. Also, you go attempt question A, and please make sure that you have at least 25 minutes left before the last question. What does it mean? It means that, well, most likely you will overcite question A. Well, almost everybody does. But still, we need to allow ourselves at least 25 minutes. Why? because, as we have already discussed, the first thoughts in each and every question bring you more marks than all of the following thoughts. So it's better to start fresh and enjoy this benefit of having more thoughts per sentence than whatever you have in the very end of your answer. So go there and attempt something. And this is the order that I would attempt. So the easiest B, then I, and then the other B. And when we work with students, what we actually do, I like to train my students to know how to answer any question they made. We do that by means of quizzes. Quizzes is a short piece of scenario, and there is a short question from 6 to 10 marks that is attached to it. And the quizzes are made in such a way that you're able to revise all of the syllabus, well, the major parts of the syllabus, have some practice on it, because you do not always get a chance to have enough practice because past exam questions are very lengthy. So you cannot practice, let's say, just in time, not-for-profit organization, transfer pricing, and 10 other topics, because you just do not have that much time for practice. And as with these short 6 to 10 marks questions, you can do that, and you are actually motivated to do that daily, so that this knowledge kind of gets into your head by itself. And also, we practice that different ways the question can be formulated, and as such you will be prepared to almost any of the questions. And yes, there may be some topics that you like less, but you will have one of the questions that will seem the easiest to you.